Well, let's take you back to South Africa, where the United States has warned its citizens of a possible attack by extremists targeting U.S. facilities or interests there. The warning was issued by the U.S. Embassy in Pretoria. Let's just get more now from Johannesburg. We're joined by Na'eem Jeenah, the Executive Director of the Afro-Middle East Center there in Johannesburg. Na'eem, this is a rare security alert in a stable democracy, seldom associated with Islamist militancy. What's your assessment of this, of the U.S. decision?
Well, firstly, it's not, the U.S. Embassy has issued such warnings before. In fact, warnings with sometimes more detail and stronger in their language than this one. This one says basically nothing. It says extremists have information from extremists, doesn't say who they are, doesn't say when this threat is for, doesn't say what the targets are or anything like that. In the past, on occasion when such warnings have been given, often it had to do more with South Africa-US diplomatic relations than any kind of terrorist threat. And when the Americans were a bit unhappy with South Africans for some other reason, they would do such a thing. In this case also, let's remember that while that alert was issued by the embassy, the US State Department has still not issued a travel advisory to Americans that are visiting South Africa. So it seems that even from within their own ranks, they're not taking it entirely seriously.
Could you give us some more context and possible reasons as to why extremists might specifically target US interests in South Africa?
Well, I think there's a number of extremist groups in various parts of the world that might like to target US interests. But the fact that it's in South Africa makes this an odd situation. None of the groups that we know of, none of the groups such as ISIS or Al Qaeda, etc., or for that matter, various groups on the African continent, groups in the DRC or in Central African Republic, Boko Haram, Shabab. None of these groups see really any value in carrying out operations within South Africa. So, of course, even if they're going to target any American business or American government building, it would still be in South Africa, and the South African authorities would regard that as an attack on South Africa. And for none of these groups would South Africa be a useful target. So the fact that this kind of warning has been given is odd from that perspective. I doubt very much that there actually is any real threat.
Is it procedural, Na'eem, for the US government to share intelligence on such issues with the affected government, and how should security agents in South Africa respond?
This would generally be the normal procedure, that the intelligence agency of the United States would share this kind of information with the South African intelligence state security agency. They would look at or do a threat assessment together if it's going to be targeting American interests, and work out some kind of plan by which to deal with it. The South Africans, however, their modus operandi is that they will not say anything. They will not issue a statement to say that this is true or not true. If they have been consulted and they have been part of some strategy around this, they will deal with it in the normal course of their work without making an announcement about it. So it's possible, if this is a real threat, it's possible that the Americans have consulted with the South African State Security Agency. But if not, then perhaps not.
All right, Na'eem Jeenah, live for us in Johannesburg. Many thanks.